Well, I'm assuming it's running. Welcome, everybody, to the podcast. Here we are. We are the Crafty Boys. We drink beer and talk about crap. So, there you go. That's the whole summary of the show. I'm Shane. Below me is Locke. Over there is Dave. Down there, down there is Alan. There you go.
Hi, Dave.
How's it going, man? Oh, wait.
Hey,
oh, Jesus, sorry. Dave, shut up. Hey, Locke, how's it going, man? So,
I got noisy neighbors upstairs.
Yeah,
Dave,
Dave.
shut up.
Stay out of Alan's crap, man.
Whew. That guy. I mean, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming in and watching us drink beer. So, today's beer is brought to you by whatever the hell I had in my fridge. I'm going to talk about my beer first because it's been sitting in my fridge for about, I don't know, it must be at least a month, if not more. Here we are. It is blank beer. It's Death Star beer. It's
Trench beer.
It's called Trench beer. Here, let me put it there. This is Fober's Folly. It's their lavender Earl Grey beer, and I've been really looking forward to this one. And it's an extra special bitter, so I am hoping that this is
It's
really
much
awesome.
more special than their regular special bitter.
And you can't see it, but there's right here is a medal. They actually won with this particular beer the Canadian Brewing Awards third. Hang on, it's a little too much condensation going on here. Third place for this particular beer. So there we go. That's what I'm going to be drinking tonight. Who wants to go next?
Okay, so Dave and I are drinking the same thing. Dave, yeah. And that is by virtue of us both living in Victoria and having access to the same beer store. So we can get the same thing, unlike Locke in Toronto and Shane in Vancouver. So Dave and I are drinking from Russell Brewing, which is in Surrey, BC. You would think that Shane would be able to get it, but alas, he can't. Is from Russell Brewing. Their Orange Dreamsicle Dessert Sour.
Dessert sour.
So I'm kind of interested for this one here.
I'm hoping
so it's
it turns out better than cake.
Is this going to taste like a creamsicle?
Peanut Gallery. I certainly hope it does not turn out to be like that cake beer and that Devil's Food Cake or whatever the hell it was last year before. That we were excited about it for such a long time.
I liked
and
it.
You were the only one. Dave and I were like, I would like to vomit now because it was just gross. Here's the pour I have for my beer. It's
That's an interesting looking beer.
Oh my god! Guys, what's happening? Well, I'm not going to show you.
Majorly warped
Locke,
beer there.
what are you drinking?
Alrighty, so I am drinking another Flying Monkeys beverage. You all know that I've been pretty supportive of the Monkeys over the.
That's right.
Since arriving.
Hey, with the
Crash Landing in
Monkeys.
Ontario. I do think that as Ontario breweries go, these guys are sort of one of the leaders rather than followers. So this is like a bunch of 80s movie riffs all sort of compressed into a brand here, it seems. What we have is Adventures in Time Surfing. Ooh.
Cool.
You see how Adventures is kind of written in an Adventures in Babysitting style?
Right.
Time surfing is not.
Very 1970s poster sort of stuff.
And then we have a bunch of mixtapes in case we want to drop.
Is that a Ford Pinto on the? What kind of?
I kind of think it might be. I don't know. Like, it says Supernova on it. I don't know. What would a Supernova be?
A Supernova, like a Chevy Nova?
Did Ford have a? I don't know.
Well, there was the Chevy Nova Super Sport.
Does that look like one?
Yes, that looks like a Chevy Nova.
Yeah, okay. So maybe that's what that is. So the mixtapes are Mango Mix, Orange View Glad, TARDIS Tunes. Oh, we got a little bit of a Doctor Who reference.
Oh, really?
I'll be you. Weird.
Weird. Very strange.
Pizza Freak and Squonk. Okay. So let's see. So this thing weighs in alcohol per volume of 8.2, which puts this sort of in the drunkier type of a beverage. Space for all. Okay. Orange. You glad there's mango? Blood orange and mango materialize in ubiquitous circuits of craft shimmering obby haze. Oscillates with acerbic tang finishing. Let's find out what this bloody thing tastes like.
Okay, I'm just going to read off mine because I now have my glasses and I can see that there's actually some text on here. Strong. Oh, so the Foamer's Folly Lavender Earl Grey Extra Special Bitter is strong flavors of rich herbal lavender complemented by biscuit and caramel malts. Golden amber, this medium-bodied beer finishes dry with subtle floral hop bitterness, and it is a strong beer, rocking in at 5.8% alcohol by volume, and its international beer units is not on here. I'd have to go to their website, but essentially, by the way, Foamer's Folly, for those who don't know, is out of Pitt Meadows.
All right, so tell us, what do you think of the beer, Shane? You've been sampling it while we've all been
I've been drinking it away. It's actually, well, here's the thing. It is actually quite good. I will not lie. I have been very pleased with this one. And it definitely, not so much on the Earl Grey side, but definitely you can, the lavender is overpowering, which is probably why you don't get the Earl Grey kind of flavor. But it is there because it takes the edge off the malt. So, but it's not as bitter as I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be a bit more bittery.
Okay.
So what about you, Dave?
What do you think? I just want, before Dave chimes in here, and I know he hasn't said a word yet on the podcast, I think, Shane, you put in a message that tonight's beer is all over the place. Foamer's Folly, Flying Monkeys, and Parallel 49. That is incorrect. We are not drinking from Parallel 49. This is Russell Brewing.
Oh, Russell Brewing, sorry. Correction.
Dave, what are your thoughts on the Dreamsicle?
Unfortunately, nothing terribly different or special than what I remember from some other sours we've had in the past, really. I guess, to be honest, and I guess we'll go over this again over the next few weeks because you and I have the same stuff, but when I was looking over the shelves the other night, I was like, I'm not really feeling it. Like, nothing was screaming, okay, you got to try me. This shit looks great. So I was more like, okay, I just, I'll grab something that looks like it could be decent. That was kind of where I was at. And
right.
So this is kind of in that space, really.
Yeah.
Because I guess when I think of like Orange Dreamsicle, who doesn't think of Creamsicle and who doesn't love Creamsicle? It's awesome.
Hands up. Oh.
Yeah, I have to say that every time I have ever wanted one, there's just I love it. Yeah.
I wasn't that big on the Creamsicle. I always went Canadian Mint was my frozen treat of choice.
Right. This one here, it needed to be sweeter, I think. A sour wouldn't it like you say, I think of Creamsicle. So like I'm thinking like an orange Creamsicle. And so this needed to be sweeter. Maybe like I don't know. Maybe a Hefeweizen or something. I don't know. Something like that.
I have no idea how you would make it work, honestly. I guess part of it for me is Creamsicle has a smoothness that comes from I don't know what. But you know what I mean? Like,
I would think the smoothness would come from the cream, no?
Yes.
And I guess what I'm wondering is like, so with cream, like what you got is you got maybe as compared to water, it's smoother, and then maybe there's a dash, just a hint of salt and maybe a hint of vanilla. Do you find there's a hint of salt and a hint of vanilla in this particular sour, or is it just a fruit sour?
Salt I could see. I don't know about you, Alan, but I can see salt.
No.
Interesting. There's stuff on the can here, like fine print. It is do 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 do. Oh, the sweet sound of the ice cream truck rolling down the street with additions of orange zest, milk sugar, and vanilla. This sour will bring back memories of your childhood without all the effort and running down the street and choosing from the small faded photos on the side of a retired postal vehicle. That's actually kind of creative. I kind of like that.
That is pretty cool.
But not worth the cost of the can. It's better than the beer.
Right.
I'm going to give this one a pass. I'll never get it again. Nice to try it once in a while, but I think the sour that Shane and I had last week from Moon Underwater was a far better example.
I'm sad I missed that one. So
you can still go get it, Dave.
They still have it?
Probably. Okay, Locke, tell us about your beer. What do you like? What don't you like?
All right, so this is quaffable, easy drinking, 8.5% beer. It's, a daunting proposition, as you well know, having done Blue Bridge just in the last month or two. What to say about this? It's sweeter than I'd like. It's a sort of a Northeast hazy style. I'm getting, if you took grapefruit and pineapple juice and kind of mixed them in sort of roughly equal quantities, that's kind of that's the profile of this thing. What's in this thing? Do we have ingredients? Let me see if I can find ingredients. I'm not seeing actual ingredients listed on this thing, which is unfortunate because I would like to know what's making it hazy. I would say that this is, in terms of complexity, a disappointment after something like Sparkle Puff, which was bizarre and crazy and really a complex flavor. This is a mixture of fruit juices that will get you hammered in minutes if you pop her back.
I remember having something that was really sweet on the show a while ago, and we ran into not a big situation, but I remember by the end of our stream, we were definitely not quite conscious. I seem to recall that we were pretty much. I've watched some of those episodes back again the next day when I go, "Oh God, what did we do? What did we do last night?" And definitely you can watch us steadily get drunker and drunker. Which, by the way, I was watching some of these streamers the other day over the weekend, looking at sort of what the trends are with live streams these days. And there are people doing like 12-hour streams, 24-hour streams. So I think we should do like a 12-hour drink-a-thon. Really, really punish ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know.
Other side of exam.
Oh, yes, exactly. We'll do it the day you actually finish. But yeah, there's definitely this desire for people to
do long streams,
long form.
So why are the streams so long? What, do they drop acid first or something?
I think.
Well, it depends. There's there's a lot of people that are. I mean, here's the thing: some of the streams they do various things. They are video game players, or they are cosplayers, or they are doing something where.
How do you do a 12-hour cosplay stream?
Well, you'd actually create them. You'd actually go through the art of making the costume.
I see.
But there is one streamer that I've seen off and on referenced here and there, and I've watched about 10, 20 minutes here or there. And it's somebody who's basically hula hoops in their dining room. But they have all the lights are either, dimmed down, or she has got like background lighting or something. And this hula hoop is all lit up with like LEDs that respond to motion and kind of that was kind of neat. That was kind of cool.
Dave, get your hula hoop. Come on,
Dave, break it out, man.
we need the viewers.
It's buried under the house, man. It's buried under the house. Sorry.
That light up with like special colors when they're moving.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it really depends on the level of creativity you want to get into. I mean, for us, it would be basically watch us get steadily drunker and drunker until we make complete bad choices by the end.
Except for Dave. Over
Dave
12 hours,
Dave would be our sober
Dave would
companion.
drink like 2 Radlers in 12 hours.
And that's after sleeping for 3 hours of the 12 hours.
No, I would just get a bunch of the 0%ers and I'd be good to go.
Yeah.
Which reminds me. I did put in the back channel. I did put in an article that I found a little bit ago, talking about de-alcoholized beer. So beers that are low alcohol or zero alcohol, and I quote, "that don't suck." Now, the only reason I thought this was worth sharing is that there's one from BrewDog. Now we know BrewDog. Who's BrewDog?
Yeah,
they made the most powerful beer ever.
Exactly. So this is BrewDog's Ghost Walker. It is the New England style hazy as F and quaffable punk as F. But the beer that we're talking about is Ghost Walker, which is made in partnership with the metal band Lamb of God. It's an IPA-style beer that features crazy artwork on the can. It's juicy, a bit piney, but has a solid malt presence as well. And it clocks in... Sorry?
What's its alcohol content?
0.5%.
Why are Lamb of God making de-alcoholized beer?
I do not know.
That's a branding choice I would never have predicted.
Maybe they're straight edge.
Maybe they're actually a Christian band.
Yeah, well, no. I know about all that
Striper.
But I like they're not exactly Gorilla Biscuits, are they?
So basically, what the website says about this particular beer is beer gods and rock gods unite. We've partnered with one of the very best bands in the metal world, Lamb of God, to bring you the world's first non-alcoholic beer collaboration. Ghost Walker rocks a hop-forward flavor containing less than 0.5% alcohol, tropical aromas harmonized with grassy pine notes, all sitting on a solid malt baseline, proving that non-alcoholic beer can taste just as good. This beer is a liquid celebration of clarity in the face of adversity. We've muted the alcohol but amped up the flavor, so all the thrash, all the passion, and all the attitude remain. Ghost Walker, pure metal without the morning bangover.
Is this because
metalheads? The Lamb of God sound like a bunch of sissies.
Yeah. Is this because metalheads are aging and can't handle to drink like they used to?
Do I look like I can't drink like I used to?
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about others out there. You're not normal, Locke. Okay, you are not like everybody else. You are one of a kind.
Superior.
Absolutely, absolutely. But their audience has aged, and needs to find some sort of a beer to have that's easy on the stomach and easy on the liver and won't raise their blood pressure, et cetera, while they're eating their prune mush. Right?
Okay. Apparently. Well,
You know what?
they're still going. They
Okay,
were on tour last
so
year.
let me pose a question to you. If you drink beer for the flavor, like if that's what draws you towards beer is the flavor.
Which
If
is a
Driftwood-
claim that is made by often alcoholic. Agreed. Yeah.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so,
If
look,
Driftwood made a version of Fat Tug tasted exactly the same as it does now, but has no alcohol, which one would you get?
I'd get the one with the alcohol in it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably. But
Yeah.
I'm just posing the question.
Well, maybe.
So look, understand. Like, so I live next door, like 2 doors down, rather, from one of the most expensive groceries in Toronto. I bought a package of nuts and olives. It's a sort of a package about yay big of nuts
Right.
with little bits of black olive in it. Yeah, $16. Right?
What?
What?
Yeah. It's that
Sounds
type
like
of
urban fare.
It's that type of grocery.
Whole Foods.
They have craft beer, de-alcoholized beer. Like they've got what is an IPA if it's being de-alcoholized? It's like
Yeah, I know, right?
Like I sort of don't know how to parse that really, but
Yeah.
but
Well,
they, believe me, this is something that's happening. People are doing this.
Oh, absolutely.
And
It's a trend.
I don't know what to say about it except that if there's anything that troubles me about drinking beer, it's not the alcohol content, rather it's the carbs.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know that I've had an O'Doul's once many
Yeah,
years ago,
me
but
too.
I don't recall any other time that I've had de-alcoholized beer. I remember selling it at the rec center in Oak Bay many years ago, and I recall having a conversation with my boss at the time when some kids who were probably about 10 wanted to buy some. And I think O'Doul's which is on this list of beer, basically claims that they have no alcohol in the drink. And so I said to my boss, these kids have walked up to the till. They've got these 2 de-alcoholized bottles of beer because they think it's funny. And I said, I don't think I should sell it to them. And he said, well, it's not technically an alcohol drink, so sell it to them. Sure enough, like 20 minutes later, this angry parent comes screaming up to the till, just pissed. And I said, I would be very happy to give you your money back, but I couldn't not sell it to them. And I checked with my manager, and my manager said it was fine. So perhaps you should talk to your kids about beer, because, it was just kind of bizarre. But there you go.
Well,
So-
when did all of you have your first sip of beer?
Oh, God.
First sip?
Yeah, first time you tried.
Okay. So, and this is not going to make my dad look good, probably in the public here, but so my dad had a bit of a problem. Okay, he's no longer with us, but he would wake me up sometimes when I was about 5 years old in the middle of the night to come and have a beer with him. So, and what he would do, I had this little plastic cup, and he would pour me some of his little Bat's Blue in a stubby bottle, and he'd pour it in this little plastic cup, and I'd sit in the living room with him drinking the beer out of this little cup, and he'd be like, "Don't tell your mother about this." But I'm 5, of course I told my mother about And she would ream him out the next day, and then he'd do it again. And that probably happened a few times over, while I was like 5 or 6 years old. But that was the very first time I ever had a sip of beer.
Okay. Dave?
I'm trying to remember. Because I have memories.
Wasn't it
of
like
an uncle.
episode 1 of the Crafty Boys? I can tell you when that was. That was in 2015.
Oh.
February 4th or something like that.
No, but I do have memories of an uncle that came to visit who was a beer guy, and I thought he was a pretty cool guy at the time. And I think he let me have a taste, but I think that was about all I managed. Because my parents, of course, they're not anti-booze, but I think they were pretty careful. Like, I was fairly young at the time, probably about, around age. We're talking about, 19, somewhere around there. So, it's, no, my first drink though was a cider, and I was probably about 6 or 8. This may not make my mom look that great in public, but it was around Christmas time, and she had done, some kind of baking or something using half the bottle and gave me the other half. So that, needless to say, I felt it.
That's awesome.
All right, Shane?
Well, the very first time I ever tasted beer was, it was that thing, my dad back in the day, there would always be the stubby bottle. And, and I don't remember what kind of beer it was, but it definitely was.
I'm going to say O'Keefe's Extra Old Stock.
Actually, to be honest, I remember he bought a lot of that. So it very well could have been.
That, yeah.
So he did the whole thing where, you give a kid asks for it and he's like, we'll have a sip. And I remember hating it. But I don't think here's the thing is I wasn't that interested in alcohol when I met Alan was there for my very first beer purchase. We were at that pub in what the hell, what square?
Was that Harpo's?
Harpo's, yeah. And that was that. I bought a Canadian. It was I fucking hated it. It was gross.
Yeah, well, of course.
But I also passed out because I started falling asleep.
It was like half a beer, and he started falling asleep at the table. And I'm surprised they didn't kick us out.
Well, I remember because it was you, myself, and Todd, and you were hitting me constantly, wake up, don't go to sleep. And but we were there to see some band. I think it was I want to say 5440, but it wasn't. It was
okay. So there was a radio station here in town, 100.3 The Q. They used to put out these albums with local talent every year called the Rocktoria, and it was release party for I think Rocktoria 3. I want to say.
I'm googling that.
Something like that.
Anyway, do it.
No, they don't do it anymore.
1991.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 1991.
It had the Hungry Band, Joe Neckbone, Purple City,
Purple
Radio
City?
Chaos.
Purple City? Seriously?
So this is 1991.
Yeah.
Was a musical. It was a music cassette.
Yeah.
And Purple City.
Oh my god. Amazing.
Why? Why is that amazing?
Purple City. So, do you guys remember what Purple City actually is?
No.
Okay. So
by the way, this collection and apparently a couple of the other ones are available at the Library and Archives Canada. You can actually go, and you can't take it out, but you can go there and listen to it.
So what Purple City is, first of all, Purple City is when you go to the Empress and sit in front of the floodlights and stare at the floodlights for like a minute. And then when you walk away, everything is purple. Purple City. So Purple City, the band, I don't know much more about them than this. That Jay Flower, who was in Mexican Power Authority and a bunch of other projects at Jeremy's. Jeremy Turner, we're talking here.
Right.
He is has his own record label and is one of the world's sort of like key archivists of international punk and metal.
Wow.
And his docu sort of narrative of the Victoria punk scene, All Your Ears Can Hear, has Purple City on it, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is not funny. Jeremy Turner out of UVic, is it? That was doing the various documentary stuff on different things. Like I think the first and only I watched of this fella, I don't remember if this is Jeremy Turner, but he did a documentary on metal. So kind of the history of metal and, you know.
Yeah, no. That's a same circle. Yeah, same people. I ran into him in Toronto. That's I should remember his name, shouldn't I?
Well, you are drinking a beer of 8.5%. So, cut yourself some slack.
8.2% beer goes down like water. Fruit juice, let's say. No, that's that's that guy, But anyway, yeah, no. We used to go to Lyle's place, like down on
Yates Street.
Down on Yates Street, yeah, like very very cool guy. He's living in Toronto now. He's continuing to do documentaries and stuff. Did the last 3 Iron Maiden concert movies or something like that. But the Jeremy Turner that we're talking about here. This is another cat, and Jay Flower is another cat as well. Although all of them are in touch, they all talk to each other. Sam Dunn. That's what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
Sam Dunn. Metal: A Headbanger's Journey is his sort of that's his breakout moment.
I think that's the one I saw.
A very good guy, yeah. And I would not say that he's one of those people eating prune mush there. He seems to be in top form, so.
Right. Staying regular and all that. Yeah. It's awesome. Good for him. So, Locke, when did you have your first sip of beer?
Probably pretty close to the same as you. Given the circumstances, the only thing I can confirm for sure is it was after my parents' divorce. So it would be 4, maybe 5. It was at a piece of property just outside of Birtle, Manitoba. So southern Manitoba. And my father was drinking beer, and he was like, "Hey, you get a load of this. Check this out. You should try this. You'll find this interesting." So I tasted it. I thought, "Ooh, that's an interesting thing. What is that?" "That's called beer." "Oh, okay." There you go.
What was his beer of choice?
I don't know. I can't say for sure, but my recollection is that it was maybe Labatt's Blue.
Right. That was my dad's thing. Was Labatt's Blue. That's all he drank.
Yeah.
Give me a blue, he'd say.
Give you a blue? Get me a blue.
Oh, yeah. Give me a blue.
I don't remember what my dad's go-to beer was, but I don't think he had one.
O'Keefe's. Whatever one was on sale.
I mean, I know O'Keefe. Well, actually, that could very well have been a thing.
See, Old Stock was my beer of choice, for most of the 1990s, because this was before craft beer was readily available in most places. And
right.
And the thing with extra Old Stock has an extra % of alcohol.
Ah.
And it actually tastes like something.
Right.
As compared to other sort of bottle standard beers.
So that's why people drank it so much. Because I remember when I was a kid, there was always extra Old Stock empties on the side of the sidewalk, or I'd find bottle caps everywhere. And it's like, why are so many people drinking this? Oh, that's why. Gotcha. Which brings us full circle. If the beer had no alcohol in it, would you drink it? No!
I just put a link in the back channel, boys. The YouTube channel that has Rocktoria as a series of albums that you can listen to. So there you go.
I have the CDs still.
Rocktoria apparently went all the way to Rocktoria 10 in 1998, and then it stopped. What was the other album that Q did that I still have like a couple of copies of that have the Fairyline song?
That was the All Bad Band, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. They did a couple actually. So they did one.
I know I have two of them.
They did one for the Commonwealth Games, which had it was basically all comedy bits from during the Commonwealth Games. They did one which was basically a mixtape of classic rock songs, and then they did a couple others that were kind of similar to that as well.
I mean, my favorite thing was the Slow Walkin' Walter, the fire engine guy, because I gather, from what I remember, there was a guy that called into the queue and requested Slow Walking Walter, the fire engine guy, and for his music request. So, Slow Walking Walter, the fire engine guy. So, there you go. Locke is still confused. What the hell song is that?
No. Evidently, it's Smoke on the Water.
It struck me that became a thing for a while.
Yeah.
Trying to remember, how many times did we ever do requests into the queue? I know we tried a few times.
You know what? I didn't at all on the queue.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I know I did. I think I requested something like
for me,
and...
when I was younger, and CKDA 1220 used to do their requested dedication hour at 8 o'clock at night, or from 8 till 9 or something like that. And it was so stupid. It was just high school kids.
Well, that was the whole point.
The vehicles that you've driven over the years, how many of them had radio but not cassette or disc or any other, just radio?
Well, my very first car was a 1976 Volkswagen Rabbit, the green one.
I think I remember that.
It had, when it was given to me, it was still rocking its AM radio.
Yeah.
That's all it had. Nice. And a single speaker in the dash. And I don't know, I'm not sure how long it took me. It wasn't that long, but I remember taking it out. And because I could not get the stereo out of the dash, because I would have had to remove the steering wheel, I thought, well, screw that. Because the whole unit would come out as one piece and you couldn't get it past the steering wheel. So I left it in there and I disconnected it. And I cut the back of the glove compartment off. I stuck the stereo in there, mounted it really flimsily to the plastic of what I'd left there. So, so that worked for a while. I mean, just whoever was in the passenger seat had to control the stereo because I couldn't reach that far. But I think that was only a tape deck too. I remember replacing it at some point with something else, but I think it was just both tape decks. It was also kind of nice because it was hidden away. You didn't actually have a stereo that was visible from the outside of the car. So
yeah, my first car, and I think Shane will remember this, was the 1976 Ford Fiesta, which was basically a Volkswagen Rabbit that had the Ford badging on it. It was actually made in the Volkswagen plant in Germany. And it didn't have anything. Didn't even have a radio. Yeah, it had nothing in it. It was 4 seats, 4 tires, a gear shifter, and that's about it. My next car after that did have a cassette deck in it. And interestingly about that, that Ford Fiesta, I remember I bought it in the summer and I thought, wow, this is a fantastic deal. It's got, fairly low mileage on it. It's only in 1976 and this is like, 1990 or something like that. So I was only 14 years old. And I'm like, wow, I got this thing for $1,200. Man, this is awesome. And then fall hit. And the rains came, and I realized that all the seals on the doors and everything leaked. There was water coming into the car, and then I remember I was driving with Shane. Shane was in the passenger seat, and I drove through a puddle, and his feet and his knees automatically went up to his chin because we realized after we parked and we peeled back the carpeting on the passenger side, there was no floor. The water came up, pushed the carpet up, and his feet up, and his knees up to his chin.
I remember that.
That was that car got wrecked not long after that. And
then you had the Ford.
No, then I had.
No, what was that? The blue thing.
I had the. It was like a K car. It wasn't the K car. It was the Plymouth version.
Oh, that's right. You had the K car. That's right. You had the Tempo after that.
Yeah, then the Tempo, the Ford Tempo.
The K car. I remember when we went out on the highway when your K car started dying, and we went out and you were like, your foot was through the floor trying to keep this thing up to like 40 on the highway. It's like, what's wrong with this thing? It turns out that like 2 of the pistons didn't work anymore or something. Like, that's right. You had the Tempo. Was it a Ford? Is it Ford Tempo?
It was a Mercury. The Mercury version of the Tempo. I can't remember what. Topaz. Mercury Topaz.
Right. The Mercury Topaz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, cars.
Yeah, every car after that had at least a tape deck in it. At least.
What about you, Dave? What kind of cars did you own? Like, when I first met you, I remember you had some sort of green thing that didn't last too long, and then you had a blue thing after that. I think.
Yeah. They're both Toyotas.
Were those Toyotas, really?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah, dude. Those
are
the old boxy Tercel things.
Those are the days.
Yeah, and they both Tercels. Like one was a station wagon thingy, the green one you remember, and the blue one was just a little hatchback.
Right.
Guy there.
Did they have tape decks in them?
They did. Yeah, they seriously did. And I actually the blue. Was it the blue? I think it was, or maybe it was even the green. I'm trying to remember which car I had.
I'm trying to remember when CD players became a regular thing in cars, and that must have been early 90s.
Installed in my car, and that's what I'm trying to remember. If it was the blue, it might have been, and I think I think
it was the blue. I have a vague memory of the blue one. Yeah,
and it actually got broken into. I was a dumbass and I left a few things in the car overnight, and somebody got in, of course. They used some kind of, the whole Slim Jim dealie, I'm assuming, because there wasn't any damage.
Right.
But I had some CDs gone, and what was it? I don't even know if they stole the unit itself. I think they stole the face off it or something ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember the whole face thing. Yeah, because the faces were removable, so you could secure the rest of them. Yeah, to try and protect it. But again,
only if you leave the face on.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what I did. I was a dumbass that night.
What about Locke? I'm trying to remember. The Jeep is pretty much the only vehicle I ever remember you having.
The Jeep was mostly me, but
was it? Did you have any other vehicles? Have you frozen? And
yes, apparently he is.
Oh, it looks like he's frozen.
Locke is frozen. I'm waiting for Locke to come back, but I don't think it's going to happen.
He's probably riffing and doesn't realize he's frozen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe he's. Oh, geez. Locke, are you there? Well, before, just to show you something here, let me share this here. Where have I put it here? So here is Locke on the day that he sold his car, his Jeep. This is the Jeep here. He bought this thing. Well, I think his dad originally had it. He's back. Locke, you're back. I'm just busily showing off your Jeep, the final day of your Jeep ownership. This is you, selling it to the wrecker guy. I do have some video of you driving it around a little bit, but there's your butt. And the wrecker man who took it to become, I'm assuming, scrap metal or something. But I have a whole album of this thing. I took pictures of it all the way around just for you, man. So I should probably find those and share those with you. But
can you hear me?
Yeah, so that was we can hear you.
All right, good.
So you had the Jeep, but did you have any other vehicles ever?
Well, so that's the only vehicle I've ever owned. But inevitably, when I'd be out in Victoria, I'd be driving my mother's or Dick's vehicle, one of the two.
Right.
Yeah. And for that matter, when I'm in Ontario, I've very often driven my father's vehicle. So I've had a broader range of and then there's rentals, right?
Right.
I've done a lot of rentals. So I've driven a fairly diverse set of vehicles. Here's my experience with both with rentals and with my mother's vehicle in Victoria, which never had a cassette deck, never mind a CD player. I was so frustrated with the quality of radio, generally speaking, that typically what I would do is tune it between channels and then crank the volume.
And now it appears that down in the downtown core of Victoria on Government Street, there's a riot breaking out, and it's going to be the best thing. I remember for years. I mean, I played a lot of music in the car, but I remember back in the day making a mixtape was a major art. But then I turned like 20, and I suddenly became a fan of like CFAX 1070. Like the talk radio format, just somehow I listen because I've been listening to it on and off over the years with my parents and whatnot. But I remember switching to it as an adult and actually enjoying what they were doing. And then I don't know. After a while, that was basically
much.
And then I ate the prune mush. It was very good. As a matter of fact, my bowel movements improved. But yeah, it was weird that I suddenly became a talk radio fan, which later on, of course, turned into me becoming a CBC addict. Where
Yeah, I'm pretty down with the seep.
yeah, so and I still am. I mean, to this day. I mean, there's some programs I like, some programs I don't. By the way, if you've never listened to This Is That, I recommend it highly. It's on Saturdays.
Yes, this is that.
I learned of that program once when I was driving down at Vancouver. I was dropping Allison off or something. And I was on the way back to the house, and I heard a radio, like a news story about some foreign South American country or Europe. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but it was this CBC like reporter who was interviewing this person, but it was like the other person was not prepared. They didn't realize they were live on the radio, and they were just wanting to be sent the talking points that they were going to be talking about. And the guy kept saying in that very CBC like tone, "Well, no, sir, we're actually on the air right now in Canada. We're across the country." And then the guy starts screaming at him in some other language, that I couldn't understand. Like, could have been Klingon, and threatening to kill him, and like it was just so bizarre. And I thought it was a real story for like 2 or 3 days, going, "Oh my God, Allison, I heard this horrible thing happen. This poor CBC person is like da-da-da." And then about a week or two later, Allison actually had read about the show somewhere and had listened to it as well and enjoyed what they were doing. And then, I don't know, it felt like it was like 6 months later, that program actually had to have a disclaimer at the very beginning saying, "This is a comedy show. This is not real." Because one of the stories that really took off was Quebec parents had voted in that children could start drinking at the age of 10 and in the province. And I forgot what the other one was. The other one was like something about like the CFL had added like, sorry, what? Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. The police in Saskatoon were authorized to not wear uniforms. And of course, this program was all about that deadpan delivery of a CBC-like program. And people were just constantly being called. Apparently, they started, they were calling the CBC to complain that how dare they, blah, blah, blah. And they kept having to repeat, no, that show, it's Saturday morning, 11 o'clock. It's a show called This Is That. It's a comedy piece.
Yep.
The stories aren't true. Yeah, so now it has a disclaimer in front of it. So anyway, but those guys, I got to say, I wish I were them. The amount of talent, I think it's only 2 of them, I think, if I remember correctly. Bags of talent, and good on them, because holy shit, it's amazing. But anyway, but yeah, I became a CBC person, and I don't know why, I just did. And now, of course, podcasts. Hey, if we all talked in a certain monotone voice and delivered our questions and our answers in a very direct kind of, well thought out manner, we could really just deliver our entire podcast as if it were on the CBC.
It's 40 minutes past the hour. It's approximately 13 degrees outside in downtown Victoria. And we're now going to be listening to the Bee Gees. This is Crafty Boys Radio.
That's not CBC, Ellen. That was the ocean.
I gotta say, the only time I ever listened to the ocean was by force, where a company I used to work at this company where the people that worked there always listened to the ocean, because at the time, I want to say not Inagata Davida. What is that? Ricky Martin's big, huge hit in the late '90s or maybe the early 2000s. I can't remember.
I don't know.
The Macarena?
Living the something Loca or whatever the hell it was. Anyway, his song was really big, and it got played like over and over and over again on, that ocean-like station in Victoria, and it was brutal. I
remember that.
But of course, I think Amy Grant was big at the time. Acts like that. Yeah, exactly. Alan's like, if we're not playing Pink Floyd, we're not playing nothing.
Vastly inferior to Eddie Grant.
Sorry?
Vastly inferior to Eddie Grant.
Eddie Grant, oh God.
You rock down to Electric Avenue? Oh my God,
yeah. I'm now sad. Did you see, speaking of musicians, did you see that apparently in the last couple of months, not Sammy, I want to say Sammy Hagar. Oh my Lord. Bass player, Kiss. Gene Simmons was apparently watching some musicians somewhere in the Whistler Village. And, and he got up and started playing with them. When they realized that, oh my God, Gene Simmons is in our little audience here of socially distanced people, and he's like, "I'll play," and so he got on bass and they played a few songs together. But
cool.
So yeah, I don't know. That would be kind of fun to watch, to be honest. So anyway, it is approximately 1 hour and a bit since we started. So, or actually about 1 hour. So. Any final words before we close this down for this week's episode?
I want to say hello to the one person who's watching right now. It's probably Kristen. But hello.
I actually don't know who it is. They're watching apparently on Twitch. Our Twitch channel has one whole viewer. Thank you for sticking it out. I assume you're still there, and I hope you are. And I hope you're enjoying. And of course, you're always welcome to chat at us in the chat. But, so there, thank you, everyone, for your support. We are, of course, streaming every Wednesday night, generally speaking, unless Alan or Dave screw it up, and we stream on Thursday night. But otherwise, we're just here to have some fun, drink some beer, and talk about whatever the hell pops into our minds, because we're human beings. And
I would just like to point out, it's never my fault, because the fucking bears have eaten me.
This is very true. There is a major bear problem around where Dave lives. And just by the way, Dave has not been eaten by bears this week, but that doesn't mean they haven't tried. So there you go, Dave. Anyway, but we'll be back next week. Who knows what beer we're drinking? Maybe these guys will tell me what I need to go get. But except for Locke, who will just get whatever the hell he wants because he's out living the life in
fucking Ontario.
Yeah, exactly, where the beer store rules and tells you basically what to do. And they never did quite get that buck of beer thing through. So there you go. But anyway, Alan, as always, take us out.